Hello. I wanted to make a video here just to document uh, this creative process of making this little structure from the crow. This was a birthday gift for one of my good friends, and I've made a video like this before, but I really enjoy watching other YouTubers making videos, so I thought, why not? I'll give it a try. So right now I started with a little miniature person that I picked up from a craft shop, and I used that to scale um, the building to that figure, so it would be to scale in whatever scale that figure is. And so I took pictures of the building and made a digital sort of just outlines and stuff so that I could use that as a representation of how big the building should be in real life. After I printed that out, I transferred it onto this foam board, which would be used to make the main structure of the building. Um, Here I'm just assembling the main shapes and making sure that it all sort of works. I didn't have any angles in mind, and I think that the angles of the real building are sharper than the ones that I ended up using, which sort of created a weird shape for the overall building, as it wasn't a 90-degree angle, but you live and learn. And yeah, I just got a lot of gluing. Hot glue was mostly used, and then I got really annoyed by the hot glue leaving strands and stuff, so I switched it up using some super glue for a lot of the stuff later on. But hot glue was used for the initial to keep everything together. Here I think you can see Back to the Future 3 in the background. Woohoo, celebrating 40 years of Back to the Future this year. One of my all-time favorites. One thing about the Crow that's always been really cool to me is like the gothic look of all of these buildings. Here I'm modifying the little person because it was actually a woman little person, and just cutting off the chest to make it resemble more Eric Draven type thing. Here I'm working on the window, the main feature. I thought if this is what I gotta do first, and if I mess this up, then there's no point in continuing, you know? So I'm working on this window, and I'm trying to nail it, because if I can't do this window, then I'm not gonna be able to do any of the other miniature stuff, is what I'm thinking in my head. And yeah, so for the bricks and tiling of the roof, I was looking at a lot of ways that you can do 3D sort of just raised and beveled edges, and I couldn't come up with one that I was really satisfied with. I know some people like to use balsa wood and sort of carve in the brick patterns. What I ended up doing was scaling down some textures of bricks and hexagonal roof tiles to match the ones in the movie. Fun fact about the movie, it was filmed in Wilmington, even though it's meant to be set in Detroit. It was also filmed in Los Angeles a little bit, but such a cool city. Obviously, they use miniatures in the movie for a lot of these city shots that you see. Here I'm working on adding the little windows to the beveled edge of the roof. Not beveled, angled edge of the roof. These were just made using some like really thin cardboard from like some tissue boxes and stuff. And I was trying out a lot of different ways to make these windows because they were very annoying to make. But yeah, I just ended up using cardboard. And I'm working on this little like chimney piece. I can only assume it would be a chimney that goes on the side of the building. And I'm using a little bit of flames to sort of seal the farm and work off any of those jagged edges. Cutting out the windows here. This was a bit of fun to do because now it's actually starting to resemble a real building. I'm seeing it start to take shape. Very gratifying part of the process, for sure. Here I'm cutting out strips of cardboard that I'll use for detailing. Specifically, I believe these are used for just the edges of most where you see the corners, basically, of the roof, where it connects to the flat piece at the top and where it connects to the vertical piece at the front. Also used on that part that sticks out at the top. I wonder what that's called. I guess it's called a spire with like a platform at the top. I don't know, I'm not an architect. I'm cutting out this front piece. This was also a very intricate piece to make. This weird sort of show window that's got at the front middle. A lot of little pieces to cut out. If you haven't seen the movie, I definitely recommend it. And looking into how it's made, it's so tragic, but also impressive. Now I'm starting to cut out all of these textures that I've printed onto this adhesive back paper. This was super helpful, just to put on these detail pieces. These are just sort of revolutionary. I feel like if I had to, draw or paint all of these individually, I might go insane. And just a bit of trial and error with all of these shapes, just seeing what fits and cutting it out if it doesn't. I had always known about the crow for like a while before I saw it, but I could never imagine just how freaking cool it would be, It was just one of those films that I never got around to seeing, but I think I really saw it at the right time. I fell in love with its visuals, its style, and gosh, I know it like deviates a lot from the comics, but it's so cool. It's packed to the brim with uniqueness in the way that it's shot, utilizing music video directors and just people that aren't mainstream. It just creates so much style. And what a soundtrack. Like, that is stacked. You gotta love it. Just more detailing coming on here. I'll later be painting all of these into a grey. Obviously the whole building's a very monotone grey. And yeah, super glue was used to harden a lot of these pieces. That's a cool trick I picked up a long time ago from some YouTubers. I'm not entirely sure who to credit for that. But yeah, using super glue to harden cardboard, very helpful. Just a lot of strips cutting out right here, putting them onto the larger strips, creating more depth basically and more accuracy. I'm working on the little water tower right here. I ended up just using a bunch of scraps, so it's a little bit stubby, it's not as tall as the one in the picture, but that's because I didn't want to cut any more PVC when I had this little scrap piece lying around, and that's just made using some popsicle sticks mostly, and then some cardboard to fill in the gaps on the top, more popsicle sticks on the bottom, and a lot of cardboard to make the little ladder. That was very intricate and annoying to make. Here I am applying the window to the top of the roof. Very happy with how that looks. As you can see, I've painted up all of these pieces. I didn't record a lot of the painting because it was really hard to frame, and I was holding onto the model a lot. So it was just very difficult to get it all on camera. But yeah, because the painting's probably my favorite part. I especially enjoy weathering. And that goes for any prop. There you can see the little miniature inside there. And there you have it. That's my little take on this scene from The Crow as a miniature. I hope it was educational to watch, and thank you.